All right, everyone, the amount of damage control from the left over the Biden-Poroshenko scandal is definitely growing. It's a din. It's a huge thing because this call corroborates the concept of a quid pro quo between Joe Biden, improperly speaking, and a foreign nation, which literally is what they were claiming Trump did. And it's very funny because it involves the same basic nexus of casework and the same individuals. And the Democrats now, and the response ranges between two things. Number one, not talking about it at all. That is brushing it under the rug, hoping that it doesn't become a bigger story. And I think that'll be difficult. And number two, what Schiff did, which Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff there, he was claiming in a tweet, archived link in the description, that the call was edited and it was leaked by Russians that were trying to hack the election the whole time. Talk about a deflection. This is legendary in nature and in scope. This is the ultimate deflection. No, the call isn't edited. The call's all there for anyone to peruse that wants to do so. The fact that it cuts off because, look, if I have a call with somebody, it's an hour long, and I'm discussing criminal shit in it, but, 90% of the call doesn't have anything to do with that, and it has to do with me talking about my pet dog or something like that. Obviously, if you're trying to release that for purposes related to getting public exposure, it's not like giving the raw material to a legacy media outlet. If you were to give the Biden-Poroshenko call to 90% of the legacy networks, they'd never run the story because they want Biden to be elected, and it would be damaging to him. They will literally shelf it. We've got cases now where we can prove that the legacy media has been shelving stories that have been unkind to people that were facing off against Trump in some meaningful manner. We've got this happening. Tara Reade's story years ago. Part of that was shelved at the time, and wrongfully so. So giving it to the media, and you have to do that in raw form, that's not going to work. Unless you're trying to do something sensationalistic, like the time that they tried to pass off like 10-year-old footage from a shooting range in Kentucky as footage of the Turks invading Syria or something like that. I remember that one. And I think that was ABC, if I remember correctly, and they got totally flummoxed by that. It took them 2 days to retract. No, you have to cut it up because if I put out an hour-long video and on YouTube trying to expose somebody for criminal corruption or something, it's part of an embezzlement scheme, I give people an hour of material, they're not going to comb through it. Yeah, people that are really invested in the case may care, but the average fence sitter is not going to look at a fucking hour-long video. They're only going to look at analysis of it. You have to cut it down and make it more terse in order for it to be remotely effective in the public square. For Adam Schiff to claim that this call has been edited, that only matters if he were to say selectively edited, he'd be objectively wrong. When he uses the term edited instead of doctored or selectively edited, what he's saying is essentially that the entire scope of the call isn't there in that one file release. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Why would somebody release that much material when it would fall on deaf ears? And these are Ukrainians. These are not Russians doing this. These are ostensibly Ukrainians that are concerned about corruption case within their own country. The fact is that Biden happens to be part of that, to the point where the Ukrainian state is now openly speculating about the possibility of trying to subpoena Joe Biden. Now, of course, they would be impotent to actually do anything in a legal sense against him, but they can certainly investigate. I would assume that Ukraine's a sovereign nation, correct? So, in other words, if the Ukrainians complain even topically about anything Trump does, I'm sure Adam Schiff would be talking about how the Ukrainians have emerged as a major force for good in the world. But now all of a sudden they're just Russians. Like Schiff doesn't understand geography or history or ethnicity or anything else really. But he's just an opportunist. He's been doing this the whole fucking time anyway. Schiff is really one of the worst. He's one of the most disingenuous. He's right up there with Swalwell and a few of these others, maybe Beto O'Rourke, at the top grade of disingenuous nature, because he knows, straight up, he's not dumb enough to think that this call has actually been edited in the sense that the average person would consider the term edited to mean. Most of the time when you say that a video has been edited, you're insinuating that it was selectively edited, like, they did a little bit of cutting here, a little bit of deep faking there, maybe some audio's been changed over a little bit, or something like that. Not that it's simply been shortened for a public audience that will lose interest if it's more than 10 minutes of material. Hell, the average person can't even pay attention to that at this point. Why do you think TikTok has become such a sensation? By the way, thank you to the nation of India for trying to get it knocked out of the Play Store, even though I don't think it'll work. Yeah, it's been edited. Please don't look at the entire call. Please only pay attention to the WAPO cover piece that we gave for Joe Biden. That's about all. Peace out.